What's up, guys? It's Lord Botha here with another video, and Genshin Impact has settled their lawsuit. This comes to us from Polygon. Genshin Impact developer to pay $20 million fine to U.S. Federal Trade Commission over loot box violations. Genshin Impact publisher Cognosphere, which is also known as Hoyosphere, is settling a United States Federal Trade Commission lawsuit over selling loot boxes to players under the age of 16. It'll pay a $20 million fine for allegedly violating U.S. children's privacy laws and deceiving children and others about the real costs of in-game transactions and odds of obtaining rare prizes. The company will also stop selling loot boxes to people under the age of 16 without parental consent. The complaint covers not only the act of selling loot boxes to people under the age of 16, but also alleges that Hoyoverse mishandled children's data and personal information. Genshin Impact deceived children, teens, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood little chance of winning. That's according to the FTC. Companies that deploy these dark pattern tactics will be held accountable if they deceive players, particularly kids and teens, about the true cost of in-game transactions. Beyond the $20 million fine, here is what's changing for the company per FTC news release. Genshin Impact is prohibited from allowing children under 16 to purchase loot boxes in the video game without a parent's affirmative express consent. Gonna be interesting what kind of method they roll out to actually make sure that happens. Genshin is prohibited from selling loot boxes using virtual currency without providing an option for consumers to purchase them directly with real money. Which, that's interesting. I do know several other games that don't really give you an option to buy things just straight up with the actual cash. I mean, they do, but you have to buy, coins or jewels or whatever, and then you have to go buy the items. So it'll be interesting to see if this ruling affects other games. Genshin is prohibited from misrepresenting loot box odds, prices, and features. They are required to disclose loot box odds and exchange rates for multi-tiered virtual currency. They are required to delete any personal information previously collected from children under 13 unless they obtain parental consent to retain such data. And they are required to comply with COPPA, including its notice and consent requirements. So there you have it, a fine and a whole bunch of restrictions to Genshin Impact on how they're able to advertise their in-game sales and exactly how they're supposed to make those in-game sales. Because essentially they're using casino-like tactics to try to get people sort of addicted to the feeling of winning and opening those loot boxes over and over. And of course, kids, they can't really consent to the idea of gambling, but they're given the ability to play this free-to-play game. And as we know, this is not the only game out there that's like this. And while other games may have direct purchase options where you see the actual dollar costs on the screen of purchasing certain items or skins or whatever, instead of just purchasing loot boxes with random odds on whether or not you're going to get something good, it's still in a sense, gambling. And plenty of games do that. So exactly how are we going to implement this precedent with other games? I think there's a fairly simple solution, at least one that covers the ass of these companies when it comes to liability for gaming and all that. Just automatically make live service games with loot boxes like this rated M for mature. If you're going to purchase this game, you have to be an adult, or an adult has to purchase it for you and knows that there is potentially adult content in this game, which includes the ability to gamble with real money on items in the game. I think it's a pretty easy fix. It'll keep other companies, other games out of hot water so that this thing doesn't end up happening to them as well. As for Genshin, when it comes to fines because of this loot box situation, and especially personal information and data, and especially when you consider it's over kids in the United States where, protection of our children in all manners is a very, very important subject right now. I think they're lucky to come away with a $20 million fine settlement. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.